Welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy National Book Lovers Day. Welcome, Reverend Dorothy Boulware. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. Thank you so much for your invitation.
Oh, thank you so much. You are just such a blessing to me. And by being a blessing to me, you're a blessing to Christian Authors on Tour. And so I always want to find ways where I can give back, and show I don't always say thank you, but this is a way that I can say thank you to you.
Well, I appreciate you.
So thank you for tuning in, our viewers. Listen, today is August 9th, and August 9th is celebrated across the United States as National Book Lovers Day. It really is. I really didn't make this up. Somebody said to me, "You made this up." I really did not make this up. If you Google National Book Lovers Day, you're going to see that it comes up August 9th. And, that's really cool because what we can do is on this day, we celebrate all things books. We encourage people to put down the cell phone, turn off the TV and find their favorite book, or if you're going to use your cell phone or use Kindle or something and read an electronic version of a book. But we want you to just dig deep into books, right? So if we're going to get people to celebrate books, why not celebrate Christian books? So that's what Christian Authors on Tour's mission is for today, is to get you excited about Christian books. We're going to introduce you throughout the day until 8:30 p.m. So hey, it's pretty early for us right now, so we're going to follow throughout the day in 30-minute segments. You're going to have an opportunity to meet and greet different Christian authors. You're going to hear about their books. They're going to talk about their books, but they're going to also talk about their favorite book of the Bible, and you get a chance to talk about your favorite book of the Bible too. So this segment, I'm really excited to introduce to you Reverend Dorothy Boulware, and she is the author of several books, but this is by far my favorite book cover of all of her books, and it's called Created to Walk on Water. And when I saw this, Reverend Boulware, I was like, wow, I need her to talk to me about this book, Created to Walk on Water. So without further ado, I want to zip my mouth and just let you go ahead and tell us a little bit more about who you are and what inspired you to write, and tell us about this book too.
Well, thank you, Lynn. Let me say something sweet because I hadn't thought about it before. I didn't even know about National Book Lovers Day or anything. But one of my favorite cousins is now dancing in heaven, and she would be so excited to know that this day is celebrated on her birthday, because she loved books. Her name was Anita Bird Jones, and she loved books. I mean, I think she helped me get a love for reading and everything because we grew up in the house together. So I just thought about that. It's like, wow, she would love that idea, that people are actually looking at books today. Well, then, after I retired the first time, I started writing. And it wasn't a plan. It was just something that started happening. I started getting ideas for books and sort of timelines from the Lord as when the book was going to come out and all that kind of thing. So this was a surprise vocation, and I've been doing it now since 2015. The book that gave me the biggest challenge was the one you love so much, because I still get ideas from books in sort of weird situations and times and places. And for this one, I got the title first. And I've had the title for well over a year. And the book just came out a few weeks ago. It was like, Created to Walk on Water, And so I really had to chew on it and listen to the Lord and sort of bump into some things to really feel like what he was saying. And this is the smallest book of all the books that I've written, because I kept waiting for more. And eventually I just got the sign, publish it now. So I did. But what I learned on the journey since I got this title is that a lot of the things that we see in our lives as obstacles and as hard times, as challenges, whether it's something professional, something in your family, whether it's a strength or a lack of a strength or whatever, those things that we often think of as challenges turn out to be the very things that equip us to walk on water, because we were made to walk on water. So the thing was, you asked me about my favorite Bible book. I have favorite characters and everything. I mean, the whole Bible is one of my favorite books. So, but Peter, whenever you hear people preach about Peter, the focus of his walking on water story is that he looked away and he lost his footing. Don't you hear that all the time? Peter was walking on water, but he stopped looking at Jesus and he lost his footing and he wasn't walking on, and we give him a lot of stuff about that. Why didn't he just keep his eyes on Jesus? Why did he? Well, we missed the point that Peter actually walked on water. And in the book, I say, stop, give him a hand, give him a minute. He actually walked on water. Peter got so caught up in the energy, in the reality, in the supernaturalness of his relationship with the Lord, that he just walked out on the water without thinking, which was his nature. Because Peter was all zealous and excited all the time and everything, That was his nature, to walk on water. And it's like, okay, if Peter could do that, we could do it too. Why not? I mean, we were made to do this, whatever, we were made to do it too. So let's celebrate that, even if it's just a split second of being on the water, rather than denigrate ourselves and him for not staying on the water long time.
Yes. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Phenomenal reason why you came up with that book title. And that's so amazing. I mean, when you talked about the fact that you're right, people often when they think about that story of Peter, you're right, they think about him, they always talk about him doubting. But you're right, you like take a minute. He walked on water. He really, really did walk on water.
He walked on water. Absolutely. And we don't know if that's the only time, but that's the time that's recorded. But it's like, give the man his props, And if we will do that for other people, we'll begin to give ourselves the props that we deserve. The funny thing, I have all these weird things I do when I get an idea for a book. I look for movies, for something that was titled Walking on Water and, that kind of stuff. And I went online and searched for pictures. And I found this picture. And I actually began to doctor it up myself, just so I had a visual to use while I was trying to write the book. I had a big old ugly blue thing up here and something. So as I got close to being finished the book, I actually started searching for this picture to see who owned it. I found the man who painted this picture. His name is Bill Stevens. It's inside the cover. I found the man who painted this picture originally, and I asked him if he would design my cover for me, and he did. So this is actually designed by the original painter of the picture. Isn't that something? Yeah. I mean, we had numerous conversations when I actually went to. I say actually too much. When I went to publish it on Kindle Direct, I had some problems with the document. So we emailed back and forth, like, a number of times until it got just right so I could use it. But yeah, he said he was happy to do it.
Yeah. Well, I want to make sure that folks get your website information again, Reverend Boulware. If they want to purchase a copy of that book, give your website information again.
Okay, it is my name, Dorothy Scott Boulware CAOT.com. That's my website. I keep a blog there, and my books are there for purchase.
Mm-hmm. Is that better for my headphones?
That's much better. Absolutely. Thank you for joining the conversation. So we're here with our author talk with Reverend Dorothy Boulware. And did you see that amazing book cover she has?
No, I was actually on my headphones, and then I walked back to my phone, and I was like, oh, man, I missed it.
Oh, pull it up. She's holding it up. Can you see it? Look at that.
Oh, beautiful. Yes, beautiful.
And her title of her book is Created to Walk on Water. And we were just laughing about the story of Peter and how, you know, when we think about Peter, we think about him doubting, but we often forget that, hey, he really did walk on water.
Amen.
He walked on water, that's for sure.
Reverend Boulware, you said give him his props.
Give him his props, absolutely. You know, we are quick to even find fault in ourselves. So, yeah, give him his props. He walked on water for however long it was. Yeah.
Absolutely. One of the other things I want you to talk about, you know, you're an author, but you also have a long history of writing as an editor in one of the most historical newspapers in the United States, the Afro-American newspaper. And so can you talk a little bit about your journey and your experience as the editor of that historic newspaper?
Well, did I mention that I had retired in 2015? And did I mention that it seems like I'm no longer retired, at least for a period of time?
Yes.
It's one of my favorite places in the world to be. Is in the circle of people who create who tell news at the Afro. The Afro is about to celebrate its 128th anniversary this coming Thursday, actually, August the 13th. And it is being awarded for being a family-owned business by the Baltimore Business Journal. So my favorite Afro story is the first day I worked at the Afro as a general assignment reporter. I sat next to Sam Lacey. And so people kept saying to me after the day was over, my friends and family would say, well, how is it? They started calling me Lois Lane because I had become a reporter. How is it? You know, and everything. And I kept saying, I sit next to Sam Lacey. My desk is right next to Sam Lacey's desk. You know, a lot of people didn't get it, but history was happening all the time, you know, in those days, because there were people who had been around. Sam Lacey died just short of 100, and he wrote his last column from the hospital the day before he died. That's the kind of dedication that people have who do that kind of work and who have done it over the years. There's so many names who have written for the Afro and then gone on to write for bigger publications and have their own publications. And so the Afro over the years has become the Black media authority. And our website carries updates on coronavirus, updates on what's happening in the Black community. We carry family news, whatever we can get, whatever piece of news we can get, we try to promote it, because if it weren't for your stories, we wouldn't have a story to tell. And so that's the mentality of the Afro. So I hope that people will, and we're also revamping with all the technology and everything. We are changing our subscription model into a membership model. So anybody who's interested in that could go to Afro Subs or either to the Afro website, afro.com, and just look at the clean new look at the website and look at all that's going on there, and just keep your eyes and ears peeled. There's something happening on Facebook Live almost every day that's being produced by the Afro.
Yes, indeed. And thank you for sharing that. I think that's really important. Oftentimes when we talk about writing, and particularly writing as a tool for Christian ministry, we think that the only way that we can do that is to write a book. But you have, as a Christian, you can have a great impact on readers just in terms of your perspective when you write. And
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Carolyn, did you have anything you wanted to share?
I actually just wanted to support, someone, since I am on later on today. So I decided, well, go ahead and get in there and listen, and so you'll have an idea of how it will flow. But I really appreciated being able to be a part of this. I think her book title is very creative and just very inspiring, because she's right that a lot of us, don't realize the power of Jesus. And it wasn't until she talked about how she retired. I retired in 2016, and I don't feel like I'm retired, because, once I decided to do, the first book, and now I'm on the second book, it's like, it's nonstop. And you have this compelling, desire, to finish it. Once you start, and I think that's what the Lord does. I think that when He implants that seed in us to do something to glorify Him, we can't stop until we finish. So I applaud all Christian authors.
Yes, indeed. And so our time is wrapping up, but I want you, Reverend Boulware, if you could tell us, you mentioned in the last segment, you were with us when we were talking about the major prophets of the Bible, and you talked about Isaiah being one of your favorite Bible books. But if you could talk a little bit more about what other books of the Bible that you really enjoy.
So I decided that I would talk about the Gospel of John. Because I've been reading the Bible since I was a little kid. But when I was maybe in my 20-ish years, I went to a workshop at, I think it was a Baptist conference or something, and Reverend Dr. Carl Washington, who is now, Dancing in Glory, was the teacher of that class. And if you can't remember his name, you might remember that every time you meet him, he says, "God bless your heart." And so he taught that book, the book of John, for 2 days. We went through the whole book. And it gave me an insight to it that I hadn't had before. And I actually did a book based on, I called it Jesus in the Key of St. John, based on John's perception of Jesus. Because if you read it carefully, there are a lot of stories in John that aren't in the other Gospels. And my favorite thing about John is the way he appropriated Jesus' love for himself to himself. That he called himself the disciple whom Jesus loved. And he portrayed himself as the disciple who laid his head on Jesus' breast, and all of that. So I thought that I often say that John is like a little brat, a spoiled brat, because it's like, well, he loves me more than he loves y'all. But I think we should all sort of have that perspective and that kind of personal feeling about our relationship with the Lord, that we are truly loved, and that we would even label ourselves as the one that he loves, So that for that reason, I like John, and I've read it a million times, and I hope somebody will look at it today with a different perspective.
Can I say something?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, that was beautiful. That was absolutely beautiful. And I think that our relationship with God, when we see the works in our lives, we do feel like, yeah, he loves me. He really loves me. So I agree with that.
The other story that I love, if I can keep talking, Lynn,
Yeah.
the story that I love among many is the story of Enoch. And it's so short in the Bible, that Enoch walked with God and he was not. And in my mind, I've drawn a whole scenario about their relationship and how they walked so much, and the changes that happened in Enoch because of their time walking with the Lord, and how they began to finish each other's sentences after a while. And then after a while, there was no need for conversation. So they just kept going.
Yes, I love it. I love it. And this is what today was all about. Today was an opportunity for us to celebrate Christian books as part of National Book Lovers Day. And we just made it our own. We made it Christian books.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
So I want to thank you, Reverend Boulware. Want to encourage our viewers who are watching, make sure you pick up her book. What's your website information again?
It's Dorothy Scott Boulware.com.
I really enjoyed this conversation with you, ladies. Take care.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much.
No problem. And for those of you who are watching, if you want more information about Christian Authors on Tour, you can find us online at www.christianauthorsoontour.com. We also have a Facebook group page, the Christian Authors on Tour Facebook group page. Come on in and post some comments about this session today. Let us know what you liked about it. All right. Take care. Thank you, ladies.
Bye. Bye-bye.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Are you a Christian author on fire for God and committed to using writing as a tool for Christian ministry? If so, you should consider joining Christian Authors on Tour. Give us a call 800-929-1418.